What's going on, guys? Nemesis here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I got a pretty cool video for you guys. As you can see, I pushed a number 6 in the world. And to be quite honest with you, for early season, it's definitely a lot easier to push to like top ladder. But I faced a lot of really good opponents and a lot of hard matchups that I want to showcase you guys. So without further ado, please make sure to like and subscribe. And let's get straight into it. Okay, so we've got our first game here against Jank Aslan, and I'm sure you guys know who this guy is. He's actually a top 16 2022 world finalist, so this guy is amazing. He's such a good player, and I'm going to show you how to navigate through this matchup. He's playing like a Ram Rider British spam deck. I've seen this deck, honestly, for a little bit. It might make a surgence in the meta or something like that, but I'm going to go for a Band in the Bag. He has a Fly Machine, so I'll go for minions off the top of that. So, at first I thought this was Lava Clone because of the Flying Machine plus the Lumberjack, so I immediately went for like a Battle Ram opposite lane, thinking that he would have like only Bats or Skeleton Army in his hand, but he goes for a Ram Rider, and he goes for a Mighty Miner. So with that being said, I'm just going to go for a Pekka right here to clean up that Ram Rider, and at this point in time, I kind of already knew that I won this game because he spent 9 Elixir on that Battle Ram, and I have an E-Wiz for this, so this is an insane push that he has to like defend. So, and what really helped me out too was this E-Wiz actually did a really good job at taking care of that Magic Archer. I didn't want to overextend right here because if I overextended, there would be no point. He could probably just spam me opposite lane. So I'm just going to let this Pekka do its thing right now, and that's going to be tower down. And literally at this point in time, it's just a waiting game. I only got to defend for like a minute and 40 seconds left. But to be quite honest, he was catching up. He literally was catching up. He was formulating his pushes super well, and he also got a lot of Magic Archer chip, which is super annoying. But we still like obviously defended. So let's see. He goes for a Band in the back. I'm just gonna, like I said, play passively. Go for a Battle Ram in the back. Just stall out as much as I can at this point because there's no point in really trying to like make a really big push. Obviously, this guy knows how to defend because he's a world finalist. This guy's really good. So definitely want to make sure I don't make any errors in my gameplay right now. I'm just gonna go for a Pekka on top of that, and this is what I'm talking about. He goes for a Magic Archer right there, which is like, oh, this is kind of annoying. So he gets a lot of damage right there. I'm gonna go for my Electro Wizard, and right there, and then we have a decent little push right now. He's gonna go for a Barbarian Barrel and then Mighty Miner as well. So at this point in time, I believe I kind of spam him here because he didn't have Mighty Miner in rotation. He was kind of low in Elixir. I believe in this matchup, the key to win is to have a really good Pekka push in single Elixir. Because in double Elixir, it's definitely a lot harder to break through. But in single Elixir, if you catch them overcommitting on Elixir, you could just Pekka on top of it. Because Pekka gets a lot of value in this matchup. Because he has so many units that are susceptible to Pekka shots. Like, you know, the Bandit, the Lumberjack, Ram Rider, everything. Pekka just destroys those things. And that's what I'm talking to you guys about. Another Magic Archer at the bridge. And he goes for a Mighty Miner right there. So, yeah. I'm just going to play a little bit passively still. He's going to go for a Lumberjack. I'm going to go for Bandit, and I believe I Battle Ram Kite this. Just like that. E was high, just like this, and that's going to be game number 1. Let's jump to the second game. Okay, so we've got our next opponent here against Kralj, and this guy is another insane player. I believe like the last couple days of last season, he was actually like top 10, but he tilted really hard. Like I think he tilted to like top 600 when he was like top 10, which is like so unfortunate for the guy. But yeah, he's really good. He's playing 2.6, and I'm gonna show you how to like beat this matchup. I'm just gonna go for poison. I really like to poison the Musketeers because I don't really want to play anything on them. Like if I cycle like an E-Wiz or like a Bandit in the back, he's just gonna protect it with an Ice Golem or like an Ice Spirit Skeleton. So like the Musketeer would just like destroy them. So I like to just poison without like sacrificing any troops, pretty much. He's gonna go for an Ice Golem right here, and I think at this point, let me see what I do here. I might just go for like a Bandit in the back or something, play a little bit passively. Or actually, I think I Pekka this. Yeah, I Pekka because he didn't have Hog Rider in rotation, and I feel like if I want to try to break through in single Elixir, I have to make a Pekka push in single, and I couldn't, like I said, get punished because his Hog Rider wasn't in hand at the time. So yeah, I go for a Battle Ram because I know that cannon placement doesn't distract the Battle Ram. So that's why I did that. And I go for another poison, just like this. And so far so good. And we're kind of just chilling here. And really important, I'm gonna tell you guys like all the tips to pretty much beat this matchup. Obviously, like with the tips that you'll like, I'll tell you, it's still gonna be incredibly difficult. But main key is to not take any damage in single. Like try to prevent as much damage as you can. Of course, like you're just gonna take a couple hog hits and stuff, but just try your best to prevent that. Try your best to keep a really good cycle so you can have perfect answers in response to hog riders. Because as soon as you take a lot of damage in single, he has like infinite defense against Pekka, obviously, and then he could just basically just win like that. They could basically just turtle up the entire game, and then you're just gonna lose in overtime, pretty much. So I take another poison right there. I go for my Electro Wizard, or Bandit plus Electro Wizard right there, just to clean that up. And if you're already lower in damage, like let's say the Hog Rider has like 1,000 damage on your right hand side tower, so your tower is at like 3,000 or something, and your left hand side tower is at like 4,000. Like just Pekka next to your weaker side tower, but don't Pekka all the way in the back because he's still gonna play a Hog Rider in the same lane of the Pekka, just due to the fact that the Pekka won't reach the Hog Rider in time. So that's why you want to Pekka a little bit higher up to your Princess towers, just so he can't actually play a Hog Rider there. So he's going to go for a Musketeer Ice Golem. He's going to go for a Hog Rider in the back. This is pretty interesting. I've never seen a Hog 2.6 player do this play, but it's actually a pretty smart play. He's like trying to outcycle the Pekka and outcycle my ground cards. And to get like another Hog, I believe. And he's going to protect that a little bit, but the Bandit still gets on top of that thing. So far so good. Let's see what I do here. I think I might spam him because his cannon just died. Yeah, I just spammed him right here. I went opposite lane with a battle ramp because if I went same lane, he would just like nuke everything with a fireball. So I did that. I got a really good zap off. I'm just going to completely keep the pressure up now because he's really low in elixir. And I believe at this point in time, I just reset here because I know he's super low in elixir. So I'm just going to take advantage of that and just go for a Pekka right there. And that's what I'm talking about, playing my Pekkas next to the Princess Tower like that. So yeah, he's going to go for Musketeer in the back. And I do this little play right there. As you can see, I play a Royal Ghost in front of that Pekka. And the reason why I do that is because it prevents them from being able to kite the Pekka. Like, they have to play Ice Golem in the same lane as the Pekka, as opposed to playing it on the opposite, so the Pekka gets kited. So that's why I do that little Royal Ghost trick right there. And I go for another Pekka right there. Again, just kind of rinse and repeat at this point. What's going through my head right now is I'm trying to just find a lot of poison value so I can just stick him down. Because I know I'm not going to be able to break through with troops on top of his tower. So my only bet is to actually spell him down right now with poisons and zaps. He's going to go for another Hog Rider in the back, which is totally fine. I'm just going to use his Pekka to clog the lane, essentially, for the time being. And then that's what I'm talking about, another Hog. But we take care of that Hog really nicely. And I'm just going to keep the pressure up at this point. Yeah, so... And another poison, like I said, just to get as much damage as possible. And, yeah. Let me see what I do here. Yeah, he's going to go for a Fireball. It's just Spell Cycle at this point. I'm going to go for Minions. And just kind of clog the lane, just in case you wanted to go for another Hog Rider. And look at this Fireball. Like, oh my gosh. That was so close, honestly. Really good game right there. Let's jump to the next one. Okay, so we got our final game here against this guy. And he's going to be playing Giant Graveyard. With, like, mini Pekka and stuff like that. I'm going to show you guys how to take care of this matchup. This guy had arrows, because obviously all the Giant Graveyard decks that carry arrows snowball, so yeah. And I have minions, so it's a little tricky to like navigate through it. But I go for an Electro Wizard in the back. And let me see what he does here. He might just go for a Snowball, I think. Or I'm not sure. Let me see what he does. No, he goes for a Musketeer in the back. At this point, I actually didn't recognize what deck he was playing still. So I just take a Poison on top of that thing. There's really nothing else I really wanted to do. So I'm just going to take a Poison. It could have honestly, like, took a toll on me if he actually had a good cycle at that point, because I just used Poison, so he could just like Giant Graveyard the bridge or something. I'm gonna go for a minion split right here, and this is where he has like arrows, so I know for a fact this guy's Giant Graveyard already because of, you know, the Skeleton Army arrows, Musketeer and stuff like that. So this guy's definitely Giant Graveyard now, so I go for an E-Wiz in the back, I believe, right here. And a really good thing I like to do in this matchup is I like to get a counter-pushing Electro Wizard, because the Electro Wizard itself will take care of the bats, and you can save the zap for the Skeleton Army, just like this. Like, I just do this. I don't get too much damage, but that's the combo I like to formulate is like don't use the zap on the bats, use the zap on the skeleton army because it gives you more value in general. I think at this point I go for a I go for a Royal Ghost. I didn't want to go for minions right there because I felt like he might have prediction arrows my minions, so yeah, I didn't do that. And then let's see what happens here. He's gonna go for a mini Pekka, so I think I go minions high. Just to DPS down the mini Pekka really quickly, but he goes for a giant. So what I'd like to do here is, in order for me to get a counter push, I don't Pekka the giant in this scenario. I Pekka the mini Pekka. So my Pekka actually has a lot of HP, and this is basically where I strike because he doesn't have a mini Pekka in rotation. I have a really healthy Pekka, so I just single lane pressure. I have battle ram for the or zap for the skeleton army, so my battle ram can make a connection. And yeah, that is basically going to be how I like to take care of that matchup. Like I said, have a counter pushing Electro Wizard, and just kind of single lane pressure too if they don't have good answers. Battle ram behind the Pekka, so your Pekka could take care of their mini Pekka and then zap for the skeleton army. And at this point, it's just defending. So he's gonna go for arrows, totally fine. I don't really care at this point. Just like I said, playing defense, seeing what this guy wants to do. I think he giants here. Yeah, he goes for a giant right there, and yeah. So that's basically how I like to take care of that matchup. So zap right there. Pretty important not to overcommit in this matchup because if you overcommit, they could just giant graveyard you and you will not have enough elixir to defend. Your tower will basically just get eradicated. So yeah, that is like how I like to take care of that matchup, and that is for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching.